Hello, everyone. My name is Charm Penaward. I'm here with Dr. Kelly Miller and a special guest today, supermom of Steven, Belinda Ehl. We're here at Saving Your Brain, and we're doing some great transformational experiences with intensive workshops. And let's get started and kind of dive into the transformation, the experience, and what happened with Steven and how Dr. Miller helped your son during this journey. All right.
So I just want to give a little background about Steven. Steven, at the age of 13, when I saw him, had already been diagnosed with, at different times in his life, tics, Tourette's, OCD, oppositional defiance, hyperactive ADHD, and autism. Did I leave anything out?
I think that covered it.
Like when the very beginning, if you can think back that far, like when you first came in, I think Dr. Hoffman, or you asked Dr. Hoffman, what I did or something, if I could help. And so where was Steven at that time?
At the time that we came in through Dr. Hoffman's recommendations, Steven was pretty violent, autistic behavior. He had a lot of extrasensory things going on. His clothes had to fit exactly right, or he would take them off wherever he was, whenever he got uncomfortable. He would, if you took him into any stores or restaurants, he would melt down, and he was a runner. He would run out and you would have to go catch him. He had already had, by the time we came to you, he had already had 3 ABAs in home. He had had 2 occupational therapies where they were trying to help him desensitize. He had been in Rogers Behavioral Hospital for 3 months. He was stuck at a 3rd grade level. We were just continuing to repeat. He had behaviors where they were very toddler-like, really uncoordinated, blurt out whatever he was thinking. He was in a pretend world all the time. If you tried to pull him out of that imaginary world that he was in, that's when you would experience the violence.
Yeah, and he was on how many medications when he first came in?
He was on about 8 different medications, all adult doses. We had been transferred from a child pediatric specialist to all children's hospital psychiatric department as he was approaching his teens. And pretty much it was a bleak story with the extreme violence. It was eventually you're probably going to have to put him somewhere. And all we can do is come up with different combinations of medication once his body gets used to one and move him on through that way.
Okay. And how many medications is he on now?
4.
4. Okay. And is same dosage, or is reduced dosage?
No, they are reduced about 1/3 now. And one of those medications is just over-the-counter melatonin.
Okay. Yeah, so really 3 prescription medications down from 8 to 3. So that's big.
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the things, just when you take that many different medications, it's really hard not to get multiple side effects. And I think one of the things we found at one time, maybe a year in or so, that we found one of the medications probably was causing to some of his anger, violent kind of, behavior. And had to, when that one was changed, it made it a big difference, another breakthrough. So he's had, I wish I had a film of him doing his workouts at first, when we first saw him. Lots of times he had lots of vestibular problems. So he would just get tired. He'd get fatigued. He would just sit down on the floor, and he would, we'd have to give him a rest and give him some water, give him something, and and coax him to get going. But this is thing I just want to talk about, really, if Belinda had not bought in to what we were doing with the Melillo method and the changes and stick to it, and this wouldn't happen. So we'll maybe talk a little bit about different things, but when on Steven's last evaluation, one of the things we do is from Cambridge Brain Science and now cryos.com, but there is a autistic survey, and basically you're just looking at different behaviors. And so Steven on this last one has fallen out of the spectrum. In other words, he doesn't have enough symptomatology to put him into that, even, into an Asperger's. So big deal's taken a long time. He's so much better, so many different ways. He's now about 6'1", I think, or 6'2". He looks like
he's 6'2" now. Yeah.
6'2". But just his ability to communicate with people. I mean, he can have a conversation with anybody, and in the office, or parents, child, or whatever. He's very comfortable. Just so much more relaxed. So tell us about a couple of things. There was a thing with handwriting that was probably 2 or 3 months ago. That was a big breakthrough. And then you just showed me something the other day. So I want you to share that with the parents, because parents who have children that are challenged like this will have a more appreciation for what you're gonna tell them.
Right. Previously, Steven has always had a hard time with the coordination of writing, or even trying to put his thoughts on paper. So by the time we got to the 3rd grade, it was really extremely difficult for him to stay in any lines. There would be letters that would be huge, letters that would be small. They would run off the lines or down the side of the paper. And that slowly started changing, where he could stay in big lines, still with big letters, small letters. But his being able to take his thoughts, because he's very creative and always has been, but he couldn't take those thoughts and put them on paper in any way. He would have to dictate to me, and then I would give him word for word back, and he would struggle to write each word. So just within this, he took a summer break for about 4 weeks. We started back school, and I gave him his very first assignment after reading over the rules of what a sentence is and how to make a complete sentence or a complete thought. And I gave him a 5-sentence assignment. He sat down within, 5 minutes and wrote 6 sentences, but it was a complete story with only 2 tiny spelling mistakes. So we were just shocked. So my husband that was his first big recognition of, okay, something big just changed. So now can not only he communicate with us verbally, but he just did it on paper in a very beautiful way.
Yeah, it's and these are just all these little things. So actually, Belinda had a journal that she journaled all these things, and because she's very detail oriented, and she writes all these different things, positive, negative, and then we've lost the journal because he said he was getting better, so she quit journaling.
Yeah, quit journaling because there was such big improvement.
Yeah. So anything else that you think you'd like to say, or about Steven? Or I would say, when we first brought in Steven, from a scale of 0 to 10, what was your expectation that he was going to improve, thrive, get better?
My expectation was probably a 5. We have done so much research and so much therapy. We thought every little step of the way has always given us one little piece forward. So we looked at this as, okay, this is going to give us another little piece, and we'll see what happens, with not any great belief that anything big was going to occur. That was our first thoughts.
Okay. So what's your prognosis on Steven now? How do you feel about his future?
Very hopeful, because once we were told he would never hold a job and you'll probably institutionalize him. And now his psychiatrist is like, I see no reason why he can't hold a job and work and support himself when you're gone. So that, to us, that was just huge.
Yeah. So to share what your last visit with the psychiatrist, what did the psychiatrist say?
Yeah, the last visit with our psychiatrist from All Children's was that the prognosis was so good and the improvement so large. She couldn't even believe it's the same child, for one thing. And she said, what I want to do, because he is so stable, is just wait 6 months, whereas we were coming in monthly. I'm going to wait 6 months because I want you to take that time and that money and that energy and invest it towards saving your brain.
Wow. That's quite an endorsement. I need to meet this psychiatrist. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate you doing this morning and sharing this. And, we love working with Steven, and, it's like, it's really saving your brain is like a family to me. It's like when people come here, they feel comfortable and welcome. And Steven is like a member of the family.
So for every parent that I talk to in your office, I always say, write down the behaviors that really concern you now, because what happens is small, tiny changes start taking place. And then you have fallbacks where you think, this isn't going to work. This is all we're going to get out of this. And then you go back the next section and you go home and your child is really peaceful in the car and quiet and thoughtful and talking and carrying on a conversation with you that he would have never been able to do. And you say, wow. Or you re-look at your list and you say, oh, wow, that happened. When was the last time that happened? I don't even know. Those changes just continue to take place. And then you see, like we did, the huge jump. And it's like, wow, this was something we never could have imagined out of our child.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate your testimony. And I was just going to ask you, do you have any last words or special message to parents, hoping to give it a try? And you just answered it perfectly, just telling parents to hang in there because the changes will happen. And just even before you know it, because every child is different,
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate that you stuck it through. And Dr. Kelly Miller, thank you for your time and bringing on, these, every case is different, and we appreciate and want to share with other parents the possibilities at saving your brain. So one final word, actually, I would like to find out what you thought about Dr. Kelly Miller's, relationship with Steven, his approach and how that really helped.
I think that it helped that he has such a calming voice. It's a calm atmosphere. He's outgoing. He can get down on the child's level, even when the child is flipping out. I would be ready to say, oh, this is it. We're going to have to leave. He's going to kick us out. And he would just work through it so patiently. So the relationship has become where we're looking towards a completion at some point, and Steven is saying, I don't want to stop. I want to keep going. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. You have to have that patient, empathetic demeanor and, be willing and passionate about, helping the child. So, well, thank you, you both. And we look forward to hearing more of your progress. And thank you, Dr. Kelly Miller, for your time. All righty.
Thank you, Chard.
Thank you.